just disgusting. Everyone keeps popping up in their face. They're all so just disgusting. Everyone keeps popping up in their face. They're all so just disgusting. Everyone keeps popping up in their face. They're all so just disgusting. Everyone keeps popping up in their face. They're all so
Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Subscribers.
just disgusting.
Getting there.
Everyone keeps popping up in their face. They're all so
Okay. Hi guys. Can you guys hear me?
Subscribers.
just disgusting.
Getting there.
Everyone keeps popping up in their face.
Yeah,
They're
you
all
can hear me.
So
Okay. Hi guys. Okay. How is everybody's Wednesday? I'll give people a few moments to
just
join
disgusting.
us.
Everyone keeps popping up in their face.
And you can see
They're
everybody
all
coming in
so
okay on that one
Okay,
stream. Okay. How is
Can you
everybody's
guys hear me?
Wednesday? I'll give people a few moments to
just
join
disgusting.
us.
Everyone keeps popping up in their face.
Try the
can
pass.
see
Everybody
everything.
coming in okay on
Write
that
it down
one
for you.
Okay.
Very soon.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
How is
Can you guys
everybody's
hear me?
Wednesday? I'll give people a few moments to
Just
join
disgusting.
us.
Everyone keeps popping up in their face.
Try the
can
pass.
see
Everybody
everything.
coming in
You
okay
can
on
write
that
it down
one
for you.
Okay.
Very soon.
Let's figure that out.
Go
Everybody's
there,
Wednesday.
go to your restream, toggle
Give
off,
people
toggle
a few
back.
moments to
Just
join
disgusting.
us.
Everyone keeps popping up in their face.
Try the pass.
You
Everybody
can
coming in
Facebook,
okay
you
on
can
that
write it down
one
for you.
Okay. Let's figure that out.
Go
Everybody's
there, go
Wednesday.
to your restream, toggle
Give
off,
people
toggle
a
back.
few moments
Oh, I'm
to
still logged in on your
join
restream.
us.
Everyone keeps popping up in their face.
Try the pass. Everybody. Okay. There's Periscope. And what was the other one that wasn't on?
Okay.
Let's figure that out.
You know, go to your restream,
Facebook.
toggle off,
Give people
toggle
a
back.
few moments
Oh,
to
I'm still logged in on
Okay,
your
let's see
restream.
if those come on.
Everyone keeps
All right. Try the pass. Okay, there's Periscope. And what was the other one that wasn't on? Let's figure that out.
You know, Facebook,
So how many of you who are here with me already, how many of you are familiar with eucalyptus oil? Okay, there's Periscope. And what was the other one that wasn't on? Let's figure that out. So how many of you who are here with me already, how many of you are familiar with eucalyptus oil? Okay, there's Periscope. And what was the other one that wasn't on? Okay, let's figure that out. So how many of you who are here with me
Are they up?
already, how many of you are familiar with eucalyptus oil? Okay, there's Periscope. And what was the other one that wasn't on? Okay, let's figure that out.
you got it? Periscope is
How
up?
many of you who are here
Alright,
with
are
me
they up?
already, how many of you are
Okay.
familiar with eucalyptus oil?
All right.
Well, we'll go with what we have. I can post it in those other places later.
You got it? Periscope is
How
up?
many of you who
Okay.
are
Are they up?
How many of you are
Okay.
familiar with eucalyptus oil?
All right.
Well, we'll go with what we have. I can post
Well.
it in those other places later. Thank
You
you
got
for
it?
joining me today.
Periscope is up?
Okay. Eucalyptus oil is going to be our topic today.
All right.
Well, we'll go with what we have. I can
And,
post
well.
it in those other places later.
There you go.
Thank you
Got
for
it?
joining me today.
Eucalyptus grows.
Eucalyptus oil is going to be our topic today.
You're getting the repeated audio there on DLive. Hold on.
And,
Well.
in those other places later.
Yep. There we go. And let me make sure it's off over here too. Okay. All right. Is that better? There? Oh, and on YouTube. Okay. Hold on. Thank you guys. There? All right. There you go. That should be better. Oh, and Periscope. You see me on Periscope? All right. I'm not seeing it on Periscope. How do I? All good? Better. Okay. Better. All right. Now we can start. It happens when the volume is on the channel. It bounces back. So I just had to turn it off on my end over here. Thank you guys. So eucalyptus is the oil for August. And I chose eucalyptus for this month because coming into kids going back to school and
Some of you may have your kids actually going to school. Some of you may not have your kids going back to school, but some of your homeschool systems have your kids meeting up for clubs and band and like lab sciences and things. So your kids may still run into each other.
Real quick.
Yeah.
No pressure, but I'm hosting your show on my channel, so all my viewers are now watching you.
Yay. No pressure. My face just turned all red. Thanks. Okay, so eucalyptus oil is a great oil for coming into respiratory season, along with some other things that we'll cover. Eucalyptus is native to Australia and has made its way around the world via ship travels and bird droppings. There are about 11 different varieties of eucalyptus trees, about 5 of which we use in aromatherapy. Today we're going to talk about Eucalyptus globulus. Eucalyptus globulus has a long, narrow leaf, and it has an acorn on it that's a beautiful patina color. It looks just like the color of patina that happens on old copper. And this is considered or called the blue gum eucalyptus. It is extremely prolific oil producer, and therefore it is a very affordable essential oil. Some of the chemicals in eucalyptus oil, there are quite a few. The active, most effective essential oils by percentage in this particular plant, in the Eucalyptus globulus, are 1,8-cineol, alpha-pinene, globulol, which is specific to this tree, and limonene. You'll notice as you look through, there's some terpenes in here. There's gamma terpene, alpha terpene, and alpha terpenol, as well as myrcene. Those are common in some other camphorous plants as well, like tea tree oil. And there's aromadenedrine and terpenine. So these have the capacity this particular oil has capacity in a small way to affect hormones and brain chemistry. Thank you for stopping by, Susie. You can catch the replay later. I appreciate you being here. So, the PowerPoint, I don't know if I can get it any bigger on my screen here. Let me look at what I have here. Yeah. Okay. So, eucalyptus oil has a long list of therapeutic effects. First of all, eucalyptus oil, Eucalyptus citriodora, which is a little different than the one we're talking about today, but because we're talking about eucalyptus in general, I wanted to include it here. Eucalyptus citriodora is bactericidal against E. coli, and it produces immediate and irreversible cell damage to the E. coli bacteria. It is fully effective against Citrobacter frundi, Enterobacter aerogenesis, Klebsiella pneumonia, Salmonella, and Shigella flexneri. So as an antibacterial or bactericidal, which actually kills the bacteria on contact, it is a very effective essential oil. Eucalyptus oil is antifungal against all forms of fungi except for Macrophyllina fezolina, E. flocosum, and M. auduoni. It is effective against 3 types of yeast and 9 filamentous species of fungi. It is extremely antifungal. I actually think that Eucalyptus globulus is more effective than tea tree against fungus. It is an anti-inflammatory because it interferes with the leukocyte activation in injury.
Can you pull up your PowerPoint a little bit?
I don't know if I can. I can try. Hold on.
Control and roll your roller on your mouse.
Yeah. Okay, is that any better? Let's see. And I'm going to come back to my screen here. One more. Sorry. Okay. So it is an anti-inflammatory. So if you take a good whack to the shin and you know you're going to get a swelling knot there, or you've strained your ankle, eucalyptus oil as an immediate application will help keep the inflammation down to the injured area right away. Eucalyptus globulus has a greater antioxidant activity than vitamin E, and it is effective against 12 different types of oxidants. And eucalyptus oil is an oil that can be taken internally, orally, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the program. Eucalyptus grandis leaves are shown to exhibit carcinogenesis on skin and pulmonary tumors in mice when following with nitroquinoline oxide as an initiator. So Eucalyptus grandis, the compounds in that particular leaf actually inhibit the growth of cancerous tumors. And the control showed that the inhibiting factor was in nearly 50. The control system showed that inhibiting factor was existent in nearly 50% of the mice studied. So the potential for this in cancer treatment is really good. Eucalyptus oil also reduces dental plaque to near elimination. So if you have a lot of dental health issues, rinsing your mouth out and brushing with eucalyptus oil is going to calm down all of the bacteria that produce the plaque in your mouth in the first place and clear your mouth up really well. Eucalyptus oil is mentally relaxing and provides cognitive improvement along with muscle relaxation when used with peppermint oil for headache. However, it doesn't really necessarily produce a marked difference in pain sensitivity. So you'll need something different for the pain if you're trying to go the eucalyptus and peppermint route. Eucalyptus citriodora is an effective repellent against mosquitoes, midges, and stable flies, and reduces incidence of bites by these, along with ticks, by about 75%. So that would be your lemon eucalyptus. That's the one that's in your, you'll see that in your insect repellent that you can buy at Walmart. What's the one called, Corey?
Which one?
The one we bought at Walmart, the little yellow bottle of insect repellent.
Oh, I'll find out for you before this is over.
Yep, that's the one that's in it, and it's like a $4 bottle of insect repellent, and you will have 0, maybe 25% of the bites you would if you went out without anything, or even against DEET. So this is a great, and fleas too, absolutely. And it's not toxic to your dog. Tea tree oil is toxic to your dog, but you can use this on your dog. Put it up on his back where he's not going to lick, and around his ankles and up in his ears, and that's going to benefit your dog a lot. Eucalyptus's oil is effective against malodorous neoplastic ulcers. Those are the really large ulcers or acne pimples that you can get that fester on the inside, and it against a lot of other essential oils.
This works better than every other. As a professional guide, I recommend that more than any other bug repellent in the country.
Yes, this is the insect repellent we were talking about. It's called Repel, and it's made with lemon eucalyptus, which is the Eucalyptus citriodora.
It works better than DEET.
It does work better than DEET, and it's not going to kill you like DEET will. And this is safe for your kids. This is safe for your pet. Eucalyptus of any kind, however, if you have children under the age of 6, you want to put it on their body away from their face where it's not going to be right up in their breathing, because it cools the lungs. This is one of those oils that cools the lungs and can cause respiratory failure in small children. Eucalyptus oil is effective against those. Let's go back to the neoplastic ulcers. those things get very necrotic, and they really damage the skin inside the ulcer as well as on the surface of the ulcer. And eucalyptus globulus oil is one of the oils that was actually shown to produce regeneration growth of skin around those ulcer areas, visible without needing a microscope to see the area. So if you have severe skin issues, this is a wonderful oil for clearing those up. Eucalyptus oil relieves non-purulent rhinitis, and here's where you can take it orally. 100 milligram capsules of cineol 3 times per day was shown to lessen the headache on bending forward, the pressure headache that you get from having an impacted sinuses, and it also is shown to relieve sensitive sinus pressure points, which would be here and here, and along your jaw and up in your forehead, and as well as opening up your nasal obstruction and causing secretion. Only 2 out of 152 in the particular study that I was reading experienced any heartburn or skin red rash. When you take eucalyptus oil orally, you can get a red kind of bumpy hivey rash that kind of looks like roseola a little bit, because it kind of covers your whole body, and it's red and kind of bumpy and scratchy. You can easily remedy that by stopping the oral dose or reducing the oral dose. It also relieves mucus production, bronchial constriction, and lung inflammation in the case of asthma. And should you be traveling around the world and get yourself the joy of having an intestinal parasite, eucalyptus, this eucalyptus oil taken orally will kill them and purge them out of your system. Nothing about that's fun, but it's good to know that you have a natural way to get rid of them. Some of the untested folk medicine uses for eucalyptus oil are for bladder diseases like...
Did you answer? Can you put it in mouth ulcers?
Yes, you can put it in mouth ulcers. If you want to mix that in with a little bit of baking soda and eucalyptus oil and pack that in there, you kind of make a little pack with it. That's really great for mouth ulcers. It's great for brushing your teeth with it. Baking powder, a tablespoon baking powder, and 2 drops of eucalyptus oil will clean your mouth up a couple times a week. And you get rid of plaque, you'll get rid of gum disease. It's really, really a great oil for the mouth. In fact, I think what Listerine uses thyme oil, and it would be really nice to see a similar product made with eucalyptus oil because it would be gentler. Thyme oil burns really badly. Eucalyptus doesn't burn quite so much. So you can, if you have chronic bladder infection, taking sitz bath and soaking in it and an oral dose of eucalyptus will help with bladder discomfort. It's really great as a bronchodilator and reducing the inflammation in lung both orally and as an inhalation therapy. Eucalyptus oil is a fever reducer, so it's really great for when you have a cough or a cold or a flu, because it brings your fever down. It settles a cough when you have whooping cough or any kind of like chronic bronchitis, and your ribs get sore and achy, and your back hurts from coughing a lot, especially at nighttime. This, rub this into your chest and your back and your rib area. Your body will absorb it in, and you'll inhale it, and it'll help calm the cough so you can go to sleep at night. An oral dose of this oil helps with liver and gallbladder complaints, so digestive issues. It does increase your appetite a little bit. It is untested for use with diabetes. The thing with it, if you are going to consider using it as an adjunct to your diabetic care, you need to know a couple of things. And first of all, you need to know that it will lower your blood sugar. So if you're already taking medication to lower your blood sugar, you want to do this really slowly and really carefully, maybe under the care of your physician. So this is, this is a health warning that it can drop your blood sugar too low in the case of diabetes. Again, we'll go back to talking about wound care because it's such a good antibacterial, means that it'll fight any infection going on in there, as well as help your skin regenerate. Your facial ulcers, the same thing. We'll talk about how to dilute this a little bit further on for wound care and for facial care. Stomatitis, if you have a stoma from having a colostomy, sometimes the stoma gets inflamed and red and uncomfortable and infected. So you can treat your stoma area and the inflammation of that with eucalyptus oil, and it will give you some relief and reduce the inflammation there and keep the bacteria down. Bleeding gums, if you regularly floss your teeth and your gums often bleed, floss and do a warm rinse with salt and eucalyptus oil, and it will help heal up your gums.
Will it help with mosquito bites?
Yes, it will, and it'll take the itch out too.
Could you mix it with witch hazel at all, do you think, or not?
For mosquito bites, with witch hazel would be a really nice, soothing blend for that. If you had 4 ounces of witch hazel, you would put about, you have, per every ounce you get 12 drops. So you'll have about 48 drops of essential oil to your 4 ounces, and then you can just keep that with you while you're camping and spray it on whenever you're itchy. Eucalyptus oil, I will include eucalyptus oil on occasion when I do a pain blend for somebody if they have allergies to other stronger pain relievers. It's not necessarily as relieving in the way of analgesic pain relief. It's more effective as an anti-inflammatory, which is why, coming down in the next item here is rheumatism. It's more effective for those types of pain than it is for like nerve pain.
Inflammation.
Yeah, it's better for inflammation than nerve pain. Yeah. And again, these are untested folk uses for neuralgia and for gonorrhea. I haven't seen any research on the testing of this for gonorrhea, but it is listed as folk use for remedying it, and I think that folk medicine, like the thousands of years of Chinese medicine and herbal use, and even Western herbalism, they may not all be tested and proven by the Food and Drug Administration, but that doesn't mean they don't necessarily work. So
that's the reason, because it's so antibacterial.
Yes.
That it would be used for any kind of bacteria.
Yeah.
Especially.
And gonorrhea is a bacteria, not a viral infection. So the way it attacks the listed bacterias, it would make sense that it would work. So I included it. I have a little recipe here for you, and you can get this. I've already posted this to several places. It's on my Facebook page and it's on my website. So you can have a copy of this recipe. It's a warming winter lung salve, an ounce of jojoba oil, and an ounce and a half of shea butter, and 20 drops each of eucalyptus, lavender, niaouli oil, and petitgrain. These are nice and warming to the skin. They make you, they kind of generate a feeling of openness, and the eucalyptus oil starts to open up your bronchioles and your lungs, and the lavender is calming and soothing. The Nioli kind of gives the eucalyptus oil a little bump in the respiratory support, and the petitgrain is in there simply for my pleasure because it smells so nice and rounds the smell of this all out, so it's not so medicinal. Adds a little bit of floral note to it for you. It's purely a sensual addition to the recipe. And this is really easy to make. Do a little double boiler situation. It can be a mason jar in some water in another pot on your stove, even if you want it to. And turn your fire on low and put your jojoba oil in there last. You're going to start with your shea butter and let it melt. Shea butter is solid at room temperature, and I mean really solid. So put that in there first, 1.5 ounces in there first, and let that start to melt. And once it's just about melted, add your jojoba oil. And then when the last of your shea butter is melted, add your 20 drops of each of your essential oils, and take it off the flame and let it cool. And as it cools, it will salve up for you, and it should be solid enough at room temperature that doesn't run around in your container, but soft enough that when the body heat from your fingers runs through the salve, you should be able to scoop it up and smear it in. And it sticks real nice, and it's emollient to your skin, which is nice in the wintertime anyway, because we all get dry when the winter weather comes. So there's one way to use your eucalyptus essential oil. And then I have, here you go. I have mercury oil for you. You'll need a little bottle with a dropper, 1/8 cup of jojoba oil, 4 drops of lavender, 2 drops of eucalyptus, and 1 drop of peppermint oil. And put those in your bottle, shake them up really good, and keep them with you for when Mercury is either present and you want to draw on the influences of Mercury, or when Mercury is wearing you out because it's in retrograde. Use it as it suits you, but I thought I would share this little recipe with you as well. So your daily dosages for essential oil of eucalyptus as an internal dose is 0.3 to 0.6 grams. Be sure that you have a scale that is really accurate. Overdosing with this can make you pretty sick. So, again, the reminder is that just because it's natural doesn't mean it isn't a chemical, and doesn't mean it doesn't have a limit to how you should use it. So 0.3 to 0.6 grams for internal use. You can put it on a sugar drop. You can add it to warm water and drink it. You can put it in capsules even if you don't like the taste of it. Inhalation, as an inhalation therapy, we talk about this one a lot, and especially with these really aromatic oils. 2 to 3 drops in a bowl of boiling water and your head covered will open up your sinuses, will give relief to your irritated bronchial tubes. And eucalyptus, by the way, is really great in the fall time and winter, but in the springtime, if you use eucalyptus all year long, over time, eucalyptus will reduce your springtime hay fever issues. It has that really wonderful adaptogenic effect. So eucalyptus is one to keep in your medicine cabinet and use as often as you think to use it, especially if you have really bad springtime hay fever. Over time, the use of eucalyptus oil will reduce your springtime suffering. Oral, for inhalation, for respiratory things as well, 3 to 6 drops to 150 mils of water a couple of times a day, also along with your inhalation therapy if you're having a lot of respiratory issues. When you use eucalyptus oil externally, 5 to 20% dilution in a carrier oil and 5 to 10% in an aqueous alcohol preparation. Pay attention to your skin. Your skin will tell you if you're getting too much eucalyptus oil. If you feel a little itchy, if you feel a little rashy, cut your percentage back. But you can use it up to 20% in the case of an acute infection. And that's higher than most essential oils. So know that you can really increase your percentages as you do your diluting. Your basic dilutions are 1 to 2 drops per tablespoon and 12 drops per ounce. And this, remember, this oil is not for children under the age of 6. So we're going to come and talk here a second about the things that are contraindicated for use, things and times when you shouldn't use eucalyptus essential oil. And I'm going to start at the bottom of this list today. It is not for anybody who has epilepsy. Pregnant women and nursing moms, you got to leave this one out of your apothecary during your maternity period. If you overdose, if you have an overdose, an oral overdose of eucalyptus oil, it can cause slurred speech, convulsions, and coma if you get too much. So do your measuring very carefully and watch how you're feeling. If you have any sort of symptom, cut it back or cut it out. It is a chemical. And this, you know, if you're going to take it orally, you have potential for these kinds of side effects or complications of using it. If you are seeing a homeopathic doctor, note that eucalyptus oil will counteract the effect of homeopathic remedies. So this may not be an oil for you if you are using a lot of homeopathics. You'll negate their effect. If you do get an overdose of this oil, take a dose of charcoal and seek medical attention immediately. Don't vomit this back up. And it, on the other side, this essential oil may increase your absorption rate of borage, coltsfoot, comfrey, and houndstooth, which can cause toxicity in higher doses. So if you are using these herbs as well, be sure to set your eucalyptus aside until you are done with your treatment or use of those particular herbs. It also decreases the effectiveness of barbiturates. So if you are taking those on a prescription with your doctor, and you decide that you want to try some eucalyptus oil topically or orally, it may decrease the effectiveness of your medication, and you may find that you need more medication more often. And barbiturates are not one that we want to need more of and more often. So maybe set eucalyptus aside if you're using barbiturates. If you are using anti-diabetic meds, again, please consult your doctor before using, before using eucalyptus oil, because it may interfere with your blood sugar control. Some people will have some skin irritation. Some people can have diarrhea. It can be too cooling on your esophagus and make your throat feel like it's catching. And it can cause some epigastric pain if you're taking it orally. So if you're taking it orally, make sure you take it with food. It can also cause nausea and vomiting if you are taking it and you're not taking it with food. So those are some of the things that it can cause. It is also not for people with serious liver disease or inflammatory diseases of the bile duct or gastrointestinal tract. Although it is indicated when you are having discomfort in those regions, it is not indicated if you have inflammatory diseases of those areas. So it's really important to know know your condition and know how you're feeling, and to be in tune with your body as you use any essential oil or any medication. Of course, you really want to tune into your body and how what you are using is affecting it. And we get really excited about, I have lavender and I have eucalyptus and I have lemongrass oil and I have all these oils and I just want to use them all at once. Use them one at a time for a while until you know how they affect you individually before you start blending them together. If you want blends, contact me and I'll help you put them together. I'm certified to do this, and we can do this in a way that we'll be able to monitor what's going on with you in case something doesn't feel good about using the essential oils. I'll be able to help you figure out which one to take out and which ones to continue using, so that you don't have too many contraindications and not know where they're coming from. All right, eucalyptus oil in perfuming and you know, room aromatics and inhalation type things blends really well with rosemary and lemon and clove, spike lavender, clary sage, pine, cinnamon, lemon balm, petitgrain, chamomile, and oregano. And I'm guessing that you have a pretty good idea of the smell of most of these, but are wondering what petitgrain is. Petitgrain is part of the orange tree. The orange tree will give you oil from the flower, which is neroli, oil from the fruit, which is orange, and petitgrain, which is oil from the leaves. It's sweet like the neroli, like the flower, but it's green and kind of grassy and leafy smelling, and it's wonderful and really kind of calms down some of the camphorous odor of the eucalyptus oil and gives it a little more sweetness. So if that's a little more descriptive, so you know where petitgrain comes from, and gives you your imagination something to look at, you know, a sensual profile of how that's going to smell when they're together. And lastly, we're going to come here to the magical use of eucalyptus oil. Eucalyptus oil associates with Cancer and Pisces, and it associates with Mercury, Saturn, Moon, and it is a 3-element oil. So you have air, earth, and water. And I like to use eucalyptus for the crown chakra. Eucalyptus brings mental agility and clarity in preparation for divination and psychic work. It is a great oil to use in spell work for purification, releasing sorrow, emotional upset in past life work, dreams, psychic work, communing with spirits, instrumental for protection and banishing, strength, determination, and healing. Those are places that I would use essential oil, eucalyptus essential oil, in my spell work. There are different ways that, you know, we haven't talked about this before, different ways that you can use essential oils in your spell work. If you have, you know, if you like to use little candles, chime candles for spell work, you can anoint your candles with the essential oils. You can anoint your sigils with your essential oils. When I make black salt, I include essential oils in my stirring of my black salt. So those are a couple of the ways that you can add essential oils into your personal practice. And that covers it. That covers Eucalyptus globulus today. And that's it.
No further comments here.
No further comments. If we don't have any questions on eucalyptus, then I will get this posted up, and you guys can review the notes and grab the recipes wherever you want. I appreciate you being here with me and letting me share another one of my favorite essential oils with you.
Do you have it for sale on your site?
I do have it up for sale on the site, and
Which is?
the Wicked Vine Apothecary, and you should be able to find it right under essential oils. So I can put a link in here for you. Okay. And
Oh, Beebs missed it. Beebs is just now coming in.
oh darn. Okay. Did you find the link for it?
No.
Okay, hold
Where
on.
put it?
Hold on. It's not letting me type on there. Hold on, I'll put it right here in your Telegram. There you go. Doug, you and I had all kinds of difficulty getting that together. We tried to do that via email, and I didn't get a response back from you, or I couldn't find it anyway. Go ahead and order right here on the site. It's all up and working now, so thank you. All right. There's your link to the shop, and you should be able to find the eucalyptus oil there. There's a couple more, and I have more oils to be listing for you coming up, and some dried herbs to be listing for you too. So thank you very much for being here with me today, and let's take that off the screen. I will see you next time. We're gonna do I'm almost done with my soundtrack for another meditation for you, so it'll be a couple more days, but it's coming. We'll see you then. Thank you guys. Thanks, Corey.
Welcome.